This is the WrestleZone Weekly Podcast, The Road Report. I'm Joe Dombrowski, and I'm joined by a man of many names. I've known him for quite a number of years as Pepper Parks, but he's known now to the world as Braxton Sutter.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that.
You're known by many things to many people, I'm sure. But let's talk. First of all, welcome to the program.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Why Braxton Sutter? I know, new promotion, new identity, new beginning. But of all names, what does Braxton Sutter mean to you?
It wasn't. I'm going to be honest. I didn't choose the name, but don't take that in a negative way because I do like the name. Mm-hmm. We were just with the office. We were spitfiring names back and forth, and then the last text was just Braxton Sutter, and then in a separate text it said, "That's no BS," and that was it. And I was like, and then I heard nothing after that. I was like, okay, I think that's it.
And you've run with it.
Yeah, and then we took off.
Now,
the one I always tell people is, Braxton Sutter is not really that far off from Pepper Parks character-wise. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I've always tried to evolve and change things up. And especially the past 2-3 years, I always tell, I don't really feel comfortable with myself. Sorry, I'm really running off here.
That's okay. Less questions for me to ask if you answered them already.
I don't think I really came in, everybody comes into their own at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Austin became Stone Cold at some point and took off.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he did okay. I don't think I really came into my own until I switched from tights to black pants. Okay. And then I started getting more comfortable with myself and doing my own thing. And I look at it as, Pepper Parks struggled and worked hard on the indies for a long time, and now Braxton Sutter's on television.
A lot of people may look at you and think, it doesn't look like a Pepper. But the Pepper Parks that originated 17 years ago is very much different than the man before me. Tell us a little bit about the original incarnation of Pepper Parks.
The name Pepper Parks was created by Les Thatcher, who trained me, and Shark Boy, one of his students, because Shark was booking Heartland Wrestling Association at the time. And the idea was I got into wrestling with my best friend, who was Chet the Jet in OVW, who's in Puerto Rico. Chet was going to debut as a high school jock all-star kind of character, and I was a skinny kid with long hair, so I was going to put my hair in pigtails and be a male cheerleader. And I think Shark came up with the name Pepper, and then Les went Pepper Parks, and little did I know that I would be stuck with that name for well over a decade. Even not as a male cheerleader, for 8 years.
And you were the original male cheerleader in pro wrestling. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
You set the trend for better or worse.
I set the tone. Yeah.
You did.
They didn't go all the way with the pigtails and stuff, but they did okay.
Amateurs.
Yeah.
I'm happy you mentioned Les Thatcher. Les is a treasure to this business.
He's a treasure to life.
In his mid-70s, I think now, and still on the road.
Still feisty.
Just feistier than ever, yes.
Yeah, probably.
Still on the road with his seminars, his workshops.
Yeah. He just loves wrestling, man.
Very passionate about it. I've sat through many Les Thatcher lectures, not at me, but towards me, directed at the business and what he likes and dislikes.
Yep.
I don't want to say fun, but memorable Les training stories?
I was just thinking this one the other day. I remember when we would train. Like you said, Les is in his 70s now, so when I was training with him, he was probably early 60s. He was up there in age, but he would always we had warm-ups we went through, and he always did our squats with us. And then when he would get in the ring a little bit. He wouldn't bump, but he would walk through stuff. But mainly his main Cody Hawk, Matt Stryker, Shark Boy would get in there and demonstrate everything. But if Les, like you said, his talks, when he would start getting really fired up, especially talking about Babyface Fire and hot comebacks, and it took me a while to catch on to this, but he would start getting more and more animated. And then when he took his glasses off, I remember Rory Fox would always start nudging me, because he was excited.
It's like Lawler with the strap.
Yeah, he would take his glasses off, and then he would get in the ring, and we would all be like, and then he would just run a comeback. He always ended it with a drop kick, and boom, and he would pop up in a stance, with a fighter stance. It was that was awesome. So he would always, when he would get fired up, it was great. I'll spitfire some more of those because there's plenty more. But a lot of people like to. I don't know, like a lot of trainees like to like shit on Les and bring up negative stuff, but he was always great to me, like always. Like that's because his whole outlook on it was, I'm really glad I went to him for training, because especially for someone like me who, I mean, I literally moved away from home to a different state to attend his wrestling school. So he took that very seriously. Like, you're investing your life in his wrestling school. So if he was hard on you, that's why. Because, you know what I mean? You were, that's, if you didn't go to practice, he would give you shit, and he made sure you worked hard, and that's...
Tough love.
Makes a lot of sense. Tough love, exactly. He's real big on tough love.
Well, I think we're in a culture in our business right now where the lines are...
Business is awesome.
Yeah, well, the business is awesome, but speaking of young kids specifically, quote-unquote, shitting on Les or someone of his ilk, I think we're in an interesting time where there's a bit of a divide and a polarization, not just in American society as a whole, but I think it goes into wrestling as well, where there's a certain guard that says, well, you kids need to learn how to work, and there's a certain guard that says, well, you guys are out of touch, and I never understood that, because you can learn something from everybody, and I think as much as I love Jim Cornette, I'm the only person left he doesn't hate. But when he says he wants to blow up the Lucha Underground Temple, I think that sends a bad message of, okay, we can learn from this guy.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can definitely, if you go to Jim Cornette for advice, you can definitely get some solid advice. But, you have to kind of work your way around a lot of negativity.
But you as a veteran yourself, I mean, you said it took you 16, 17 years to get your big shot at TNA. Obviously, you have prepared and prepared and prepared.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a blessing in disguise compared to someone who is on TV now who's only been in the ring for 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, it's hard to call it a blessing in disguise because, I struggled for so long. But at the same time, when I was 21... HWA had WWF developmental at the time, and I mean, this isn't like a fact, but they ended up doing a camp, like a tryout camp. AJ Styles was there, Bobby Roode. They brought in a whole bunch of guys to our school, and they did like a tryout camp. I was supposed to be in the camp, and it just, at that time, I'm trying to think, long story short, I was just way too young from going, when we would just have our HWA shows and it was fun and we're learning how to wrestle, and then WWE comes in and you got like Chris Benoit there, Eddie Guerrero, and WCW closed, and they brought over all these young guys, and there was politics, and I was that's when wrestling kind of turned into like work, and I was so young I just wasn't ready for it. So that's I always look back at it as if I would have got signed at that time, I don't think it would have been a good thing. I don't think I would have been ready. Don't get me wrong, there are people that get signed at a young age and do very well.
Right.
But yeah, for me, my path was definitely a long haul, and I think it definitely worked out better for me with opportunities coming to me now in my 30s than it would have in my younger 20s.
As we wrap this up very quickly, I want you to have a chance to plug wherever you are on social media and on the internet, and also give you the last question of what does the future hold for Braxton Sutter? Where do you see yourself over the next couple of years?
Twitter is at Braxton Sutter. Instagram is at Braxton Sutter.
Noticing a trend.
What's that?
Noticing a trend.
Yeah. That's advice I got, that you should try to keep those all the same, which does make a lot of sense.
Yes.
And things I'd like to plug is TNA Impact Wrestling, Thursday nights at 8 o'clock on Pop TV. Canada, I believe it's the Fight Network.
By the way, how is it adjusting to the X Division there?
Actually really well. Because it's really well because of the guys that are in it right now. Trevor Lee is amazing. I knew Trevor was good, but he's really good. DJ Z is really, really good. Mandrews is awesome. Everett can do anything under the sun. So it's definitely good brothers to work with. So
Spud likes to yell a lot.
Yeah, Spud yells a lot and spits in your face, kicks you in the balls, and swears at you.
And that's just off camera.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go to the ring. But yeah, there's some really, I don't want to blow any angles or storylines, but they've been teasing me and Allie Bomb, aka Cherry Bomb, aka my real life wife.
I didn't know you two had met.
Yeah, so they've been teasing that, and that's all coming together now. And there's definitely some cool stuff coming our way.
Nice. Well, and that's no BS, right?
That's no BS.
Thank you for joining us, Braxton Sutter.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Braxton Sutter, for a really fun interview.
and I appreciate your time very much. Of course, my website is joe-dombrowski.com. Merchandising, social media, full career results, scheduling, outsource announcing voiceovers, where you can book myself with a myriad of color analysts and so much more located there. I'll be on the road this weekend. On Friday, I'll be in Ohio. UWL Wrestling, UWLOhioPro.com in Barberton. And Sunday, Premier Championship Wrestling at Turner's Hall in Cleveland, Ohio. You can check out Facebook.com/Premier Championship Wrestling or PCW Cleveland on Twitter. And my personal Facebook and Twitter will have some information as well. Ricky Shane Page has been making some waves in CZW. He'll be on the card, as will Thunder Kitty, who not just impressing many in various independent companies, but also competed in the women's contest as seen this past earlier this week on SmackDown. And JBO really nailed the persona of Thunder Kitty with his comparisons to her and Mildred Burke and Mae Young. That really sums up Thunder Kitty in a great way. She'll be in action, and a whole host of others. Again, Facebook.com/Premier Championship Wrestling, on Twitter at PCW Cleveland. And even if you're not in the Cleveland, Ohio area, do me a favor, head to those locales and just throw us a quick like or quick follow, or maybe consider picking up a DVD. They're priced to move at only $5. And support a promotion that's trying to give some young talent an opportunity to get some extra work and some extra exposure and really apply their trade, because there's some great talent there that I think you'll be hearing a lot more about in the next 2 to 3 years. That's all for me this week on the WrestleZone Weekly Road Report. I'll be back with another guest in a week's time. Talk to you then.